All right, hope everybody's staying warm. Time for a little update on the Ducati. Uh, Making some forward progress. The front forks are rebuilt. I just did a stock rebuild on them just to get a baseline because it's inexpensive to refresh them and see how it feels. They were actually in really nice shape. Once I got them cleaned up, the bushings are in good shape. Replaced the seals, of course, with some nice SKF green seals. These plastic clamp fender mount things were really yellow and faded, so I got some new OEM ones from Ducati. They still make them, which is cool. And filled them up with some fresh 5-weight oil. So those are ready to go. There's a little bit of a splurge item here. That replaces the stock rear shock. The rear shock that came on it was just really gross, and I didn't want to use it, just primarily for aesthetics, but also this will be a huge upgrade in performance. So I figured instead of pouring money into rebuilding or replacing the stock shock, I would just go for the gusto and start fresh. And then if the forks don't live up to the rear shock, I can always upgrade those as I go. So that's that. Suspension's ready to go and bolt on. The frame is, well, sort of starting to get mocked up. I've basically just placed the swing arm in place with the bushings there. It's not really worth talking about too much, but it's clean. It's ready to start assembling. And once I have, actually I have to replace the head bearings here. This is the main thing I'm gonna do before I really start mocking it up. I could put the forks on it and the wheels and everything, but I have to press this race out, and there's one on the bottom, press them out. It's gonna get upgraded from the ball bearings to tapered roller bearings, which will be a much better, stronger setup. Nice little upgrade. And over here, I've just kind of, I got my box of parts out and sorting and organizing everything that needs to get blasted at my local vapor blaster to either prep for paint or prep for bare aluminum. Those are my eBay cylinder heads to replace the original ones. That's one I just finished taking apart. One of the original ones was actually in really nice shape. The other one was pretty rough. But for the price I paid for these, it was a no-brainer. I got these for 25 bucks each on eBay. Brand new, in the box, OEM heads. These retail, or used to retail, for like $800 and something each. I got them for 25 bucks each. So I couldn't even have the old heads vapor blasted for that, probably. So that was score of the century. And the nice thing is the guides where the valves go in, those are all sized, so I don't need to do that. And also the valve job is ready to go. So really all I have to do is clean up the original valves and hand lap them in, and I'll check the guide clearance on all of them to make sure that they're in spec in case any of them need to be opened up a little bit. And they'll be ready to go. I'll have brand new cylinder heads. And the original valves look good too. They weren't really too bad. Those are the clamps that were yellowed I was talking about. So this is my pile to get blasted so far. There's gonna be a fair amount left to add to that. And then over here I am disassembling the engine here. I got the cases apart, mostly disassembled. I have cylinder head parts bagged and labeled here, so they can kind of go back to where they belong. And cams, starter, it's the oil pump, flywheel, that's the shift selector, various drive gears, that's the counter sprocket, countershaft, I believe it's called, and the stator that makes juice for the electrical system. My little box of bolts here. The engine uses almost the same bolts for everything, and so I'm debating whether or not to have these replated or to just buy new ones in gold zinc. It might be kind of cool to have them replated, but for the cost, I don't know, it's probably a lot less expensive just to buy new bolts. And then here's the crank with the rod still attached. I loosened up one of them, and I haven't taken it apart yet because this is the big question mark. I was curious to see how this looks, so we'll do this together on camera and see what the original bearings look like. So what do we have here? Doing this one-handed is not the easiest. Okay. Okay. Not great. So yeah, that is not good. Okay. So this engine's seen some fairly hard use from the looks of it. It only had 15,000 miles, but hard use can put a beating on these big end bearings. Let's see what the other half looks like. So I labeled these so they can go back to where they came. Oh yeah, that is cooked. Yep. It's through the outer babbitt layer. It looks like it's going into the one of the lower layers there. Wow, that's interesting. It's always fun seeing how rod bearings come out of a used engine. Surprisingly, not a lot of foreign object damage given how much crud was in the engine and corrosion. Looks mostly just like wear. Well, okay, that's good though. The bearing did its job. It took the abuse, and from what it looks like, the crankshaft is in pretty good shape. I can just have that polished up by my machine shop. They can make that look like new. So that's in good working, serviceable condition. Over here I got my box of special parts that I invested in to work on these old Ducatis, mostly engine tools, but a couple of chassis tools in there. And then a box of covers and plates and stuff. A lot of that's going to get blasted and repainted. So that's pretty much it. Now you see where I'm at. Next is send all my hardware out. I'm to the point where I can send all the hardware out because the bike is totally disassembled, and have it all replated. I don't know if I'm gonna spend the money to have the engine bolts done because they're just a standard cap screw. I can get new ones. I don't know if it's worth spending the extra money. But for the bike, for chassis fasteners, these are actually kind of special, and you can see them. This is my bag of hardware that needs to get replated. This will all look like brand new. It's a company in New Jersey that does it. And so plating and vapor blasting, that's the next priority because I'll be waiting on that stuff to get back before I can make more progress as far as assembly. And then I can continue. But while that's out, I can start measuring and clearancing the bottom end here and seeing what replacement bearings and shims and stuff that I need with the new cases, because these are getting replaced. Because now you can see a much better view. This is what I was talking about in previous videos. That's a crack. It looks like it runs from here around, and here you can see it must have had a bit of a leak somewhere, and the guy, whoever owned it, just thought that tightening these bottom bolts here more and more would fix it, and he over tightened this one and it cracked the case. And to add insult to injury, these bottom screws here that he tightened, most of them he didn't use the correct tool and just completely rounded out. So this was a project. Yeah, that's nice, real nice. Getting these bottom screws out. Yeah, look at that. It's terrible. Use the right tool for the job, people. But I had to heat the bottom of the case up with a torch and getting it pretty hot. And actually had to drive in an SAE size because a metric was just stripped. So I had to hammer in a slightly bigger size Allen and heat the case. And then the screws finally came out, but it's too bad. Otherwise, the case is totally fine. This is definitely repairable. But by the time I bought new bearings, because I'm going to replace all the bearings in this thing, of course, while it's apart. And that one doesn't feel too good. By the time I replaced all the bearings with new ones and found an expert TIG welder to repair this and then machine that flat again, it would probably cost more than what I paid for just a whole new case. So I went that route, and hopefully it works out. But that's it. Stay warm.